Okay, this is 2016 problem number 3 that I'm going to go into more detail than the one I did last year. So this figure above shows the graph of a piecewise linear function from -4 to 12. The function g is defined by this. Okay, so first of all, you got to notice there's an x here. So this is one of the fundamental theorems of calculus. And since g is over here, this tells us what this means is that g prime of x is equal to f of x. So what that tells me is this graph up here is not only f, it is g prime. So it's, you get 1 point for putting this, and the head grader this year told me you have to put this in the box. So there's no box on this sheet, but like the box you did on the mock exam, you need to put that in the box. And it can be an A, B, C, or D, but you got to have it written somewhere. So the first question says, does G have a relative min, relative max, or neither? Well, for a relative min, you have the G prime has to change sign from negative to positive. For relative max, G prime has to change sign from positive to negative, and for neither would not be a change of sign. So we're looking at x equals 10 right here. So this side G prime is negative, this side G prime is negative. So the answer to this would be G has neither a max or min because G prime does not change sign, at x equals 10. Okay, so that problem right there is going to be 1 point. By the way, on this particular problem, you get 1 point just for writing this. So please don't forget to do this. It doesn't always give you a point, but that is a super easy point if you see this x in the top. Okay, going on to part B. Part B says, does the graph G have a point of inflection at x equals 4? Okay, well, points of inflection occur where the second derivative changes sign. Or the same thing as a second derivative changing sign means f prime will change from increase to decrease or decrease to increase. And I said f, I should have said g. This should be g double prime because we're talking g, and this should be g prime. So you got to have one of these two reasons are going to be your reason for this. Okay, one of these two would be a point of inflection. So I'm going to go to x equals 4 is here. So if I look, G prime is increasing here. And on this side, G prime is decreasing, going down, going up to going down. So the answer to this question is G has a poi, and you can abbreviate point of inflection by poi, at x equals 4 because G prime changes from increasing to decreasing at x equals 4. Now the other thing you can say in there that they've always counted, they usually want you using what you have, and this is G prime. And as they also have counted this, and you'd say G has a poi at x equals 4, and the other thing you could say is because G double prime changes sign at x equals 4. Now they've always accepted that, even though this is G prime, not G double prime. The one in purple is the best answer. That's the one they want the most. Okay, part C says, find the absolute minimum. So we want the absolute minimum from -4 to 12. So we're going to get the absolute minimum, and it says justify your answer. So justify answer means we want a table. So we're going to make a table, and we're going to put in all of the important points. Well, the endpoints are some we have to take into consideration, and we're going to be finding G over here. And then the other endpoint is 12. Now all the other points are the zeros, are critical numbers. We do not have to use this because we already said that this is a This point right here is neither a max nor a min because G prime didn't change sign, but if you did put it in there, it would be okay. But we do need to put the rest of these in here, -2. And again, this is going to be neither because it goes positive to positive. So you do not have to include this, but you can. I'm going to include it just because. So I'm going to put 2 here, 6 there, and 10 here. And I already know that these two are not the answers. Okay, but I'll put them in there because they're zeros. Again, you don't have to include those because G prime does not change sign. You might put not 2 because G prime doesn't change sign, and not 10 because that, and then you don't have to figure it out. But the next thing I need to look at is this thing. This gives me the G values, and the first thing I'm going to plug in is 2 because this bottom number is 2, and I know from 2 to 2 means this value is 0. So I'm going to put a 0 here. So that value is 0 because that's 2 to 2. Now anywhere I go backwards from here, any place that I go backwards is going to be the opposite sign because I'm going from 2 to -2. 2 to -2, and when you get this sign, you're going to flip it upside down because you'd have to flip this upside down to make a negative, even though it's above and a positive. So this area is, this distance is 4 times 4 is 16, half of that is 8. So to actually get this, it's 0 minus 8 because I'm going backwards. So this would be -8. And then this area right here is also going backwards. And this is 4 times 2, which is 8. And half of that is -4. So this is -4, but since I'm going backwards, I have to add 4 to this number. So this would be -4. Now everything to the right of this is going to be the exact same sign. So I'm going to come this way and get these. So this is 4 times 4 is 16, and half of 16 makes this area 8. So this is 8, and I would write these on this picture. And then this area is going to be 4 times -4, which is -16. Half that's -8. So 8 minus 8 makes this 0 again. And again, these two aren't really going to be problems, but we're going to need them to get the total area. That's why I'm going to include them. And then my last area is going to be this one right here, which is 4 times 2, which is 8. And half of that is -4. I'm doing the area of a triangle, by the way. So 0 minus 4 makes this -4. So these are my points. Now this says, what's the absolute min? So I'm looking here, where's the lowest number? Well, the lowest number is right here. So you must say the absolute min of G is equal to 8. I'm sorry, -8. Let me get that out of there. -8 at x equals -2. And the reason, your justification, is your chart. That chart will do it for you. Okay, we're going to go on to part D. Okay. Oh, I didn't finish this problem. I didn't see that. I just now saw this. And then we'd say, we also have to say the absolute maximum, the absolute max of G equals the biggest number, which is this 8, at x equals 6. So you got to have both those in there to get all your credit. Now, on this, this problem is going to be probably worth the most points on this whole thing. You get that right, you're going to get 3, 4 points for this problem. And we got one more thing to do here. It says, on this function, from -4 to 12, we want to find all values, find all intervals for which the y value is less than 0. Okay, well, do you remember at 2, this was 0? And as soon as we started going backwards from this, it's actually the opposite sign. So all of these are negative and all these are negative. And if you look, even when we get over here where we added this back, we're still negative. Okay, so we're negative that whole way. So we would say G of x is less than 0 for on the interval -4 to 2. And then once we're at 0 here, we're positive, and we're staying positive all the way till we get to there when it gets back to 0. Okay, because this positive 8 and this isn't negative 8 until you get all the way to here. So it's back to 0 at 10. And then it's going to be 0 from there to there, which is 10 to 12. And so we would also say and 10 to 12. Okay. Now you could put brackets on these and include the endpoints, but you do not have to. So that's that entire problem. If you have questions, please let me know, and I will see all of you next time.